So let's talk about this Shrek 5 trailer thing that sort of came out a while ago. When I saw this thing, I was like, what? This is not the Shrek that I remember at all. And then I went straight into the comments expecting, alright, there's probably going to be, to no one's surprise, a lot of hate. And then I opened the comments, and yeah, there's a lot of hate. People don't like it. But I think it's pretty crazy that people were comparing this situation with Shrek looking the way that he looks to this Sonic design. That's crazy to me, because oh, okay, so yes, of course Shrek looks different, but he doesn't look like, okay, you're gonna hate me for this, but he doesn't look that bad. At least not as bad as the Sonic design thing. So yeah, feel free to leave your hate comments in the comment section. I'll read them. But in this video, I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time talking about Shrek's design and the new looks that they have. No, I think there is a much bigger problem afoot. So Shrek 5 is a sequel, and as of recently, we've been getting a lot of sequels from every big movie company. DreamWorks, Disney, they've all been coming up with a bunch of more sequels to give us. And I'll tell you, when it comes to sequels, there isn't a lot that I actually love. At least for the newer sequels, you know, of these current years. Sequels like Megamind, the Doom Syndicate, I didn't, when this first came out, I didn't even know this was like a film because the animation just looked so smooth, like DreamWorks usually does for their low budget shows. And I don't mean to hate on the animation, but I mean, it was really sad to see such a sequel come out for such a great movie and just be such a big disappointment. And not only that, but there's been plenty of these as of recently. Just to name a few, for DreamWorks we had The Croods 2, which is kind of a while ago now, but I'm still disappointed by The Croods 2. Because I loved The Croods. The Croods was a great movie, it had a great story, and it had a nice ending. Yeah, it had an ending that could have continued off to a sequel, but it didn't really need to have a sequel. Especially the sequel that it did have. The sequel that it did have was horrible. I was a huge fan of The Croods, but seeing this sequel was a massive letdown because not only was the animation kind of strange, they had the option to stick to the original characters, like the original animation and the original style that they had was amazing, and they had no reason to change it, but they did. Now, I'm not gonna dog on the animation too much, but I am going to dog on the story a lot. And the humor, because it was terrible. The story had like no point to it whatsoever. It was a pointless movie, and the jokes were really bad because they were basically jokes from the first Croods taken into the second one and poorly done. They were jokes that have been already made in the first movie. They didn't need to be made again. But yeah, I hate this movie. And on the Disney side of things, it is just as bad. For example, Moana 2 that came out as of recently, it was, I didn't even actually finish the movie because I legitimately fell asleep during the first half. And I'm not joking. I was watching this movie and it felt so completely pointless, and I was really tired that day, so I ended up falling asleep to the movie. I did not enjoy this movie whatsoever. It dragged out very poorly, and the story just really felt like it was absolutely heading nowhere. So I gave up on it, and I slept. And the sad thing is that Disney still only has more sequels planned for the future. They have Zootopia 2, they have, what else do they have? Apparently Toy Story, what is it, 6? I don't even know anymore. There's so many Toy Stories. I love the Toy Story franchise, but oh my god, this did not have to go on for this long. And one extremely disappointing news that I got as of recently was Coco 2. This situation is insane because Coco was a great movie and it had no reason to have a sequel because its ending was fine. It ended perfectly the way it should have ended. It was a great story, it was a great movie, and it legit made me cry, and probably a lot of other people too. Or maybe just me. But this movie, of all the movies, did not need a sequel.
Grass. Grass. I just love grass. So green. Grass is so good. So grassy. I love eating grass. So grass. Go touch grass. You should touch grass. Are there feces in this grass? I love eating grass. Tastes funny. This grass is good. So grass. If you haven't already, take some time and go touch some grass. So grass. So many grass. Thank you. Wow, grass.
Now, here's what I think Disney had in mind for this whole Coco 2 situation. So if you've heard, Disney did not win last year's Oscars 2024 because it lost to a small indie animation team that made this film called Flow. They were working on a free open source what's it called? A free open source software called Blender. And this small team beat Disney. So Disney was probably like left in the water, like, what? And since they have no idea what to do and their heads aren't in the animation game anymore, they're probably thinking, okay, we'll just grab last time's Oscar winner and then make a sequel of it, which was Coco. And that's probably why they have the idea of making Coco 2, which is planned to come out on 2029, I think. But I am genuinely not looking forward to this movie and a lot of upcoming movies. It's interesting to hear that they have another sequel, but it also just really isn't. We've been having a lot of sequels and we do not need any of them. Now, I admit that there are some films that were nice to have sequels of. Like, for example, How to Train Your Dragons. How to Train Your Dragons was a great movie on its own, but the sequels only perfected it even more. And I'm really happy to hear that they didn't add another sequel after the great ending that it had to the series. That series is done, and obviously it's sad. It's sad to see the series go away, but it had a nice ending. And well, series have to end eventually. No matter what, no matter how good they are or how good they were, they have to end. And sadly, How to Train Your Dragons had its end. So I'm really glad that they didn't come out with another sequel where Toothless comes back or something like that. And instead they went for live action. And though I'm not a big fan of live action remakes either, at least it's not another sequel to such a great ending to a series of great movies.
Aw, don't cry, little Donald. Uncle Mickey's got enough live-action remakes to feed you your entire life. Goofy, bring the Snow White remake ASAP! Boy's hungry!
So the problem that I have with Shrek 5 is that Shrek had a certain humor to it where it had fairy tale creatures placed in a modern setting. Yeah. Basically any form of modern media that tries to apply the whole being modern and funny at the same time ends horribly and is never funny. So that is already a massive problem for Shrek 5, because the other Shrek movies didn't have it straight up in your face. Shrek never had, like, I don't know, an iPhone in his hand or scrolling through something horrible. Shrek movies never had that, even though phones already existed at the time. They just had simple things like a Dairy Queen over there in the background. Something just silly that isn't straight up in your face. But I don't think that Shrek 5 is going to take that approach. I think they're going to shove a lot of things in our face. Especially because of the trailer that we've already seen. It's not even a trailer, just this little reel. And it already shoves a lot of modern, quote-unquote, things in your face. And if the rest of the movie ends up like this, it will be really unfunny. Another thing that I've been seeing is a lot of people have been posting predictions about how the movie is going to play. And let me just show you this. This basically covers it.
I don't want to get married. I want to stay single and let my hair flow in the wind as I ride through the glen, firing arrows into the sunset.
Yeah, they nailed it, spot on. I also think that the movie is basically just gonna play like this, like every generic, this. And if this is the exact plot of the movie, like laid out in front of us, then I also do not want to give it a watch. The sad thing is that you can't really take anything original out of Shrek anymore. Shrek has been going on for a while, and the first Shrek was an original story because it took the whole theme of don't judge a book by its cover or don't judge people by their looks and stuff like that into like a cool, I don't know, it just took a unique form using Shrek, an ogre hated by all, into this cool story where he ends up being loved by all. And it's interesting. But I think that Shrek should have a nice end to its series as well. It's sad to say, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to hate me for saying, no, Shrek shouldn't die out yet and stuff, but the truth is, I think it kind of should. It had its run, Shrek was a good movie, and so were the sequels, but I don't think any sequels beyond that point will really be that good at all. I think that there are just films that just don't need sequels anymore. They do not. And I think Shrek is definitely one of them. And I know that large corporations like DreamWorks don't care. They're just taking whatever they can out of Shrek, just trying to grab all the money. But, you know, eventually people are gonna grow tired of that. Hopefully. So back to talking about the small indie team that made Flow. It's really good to hear that they won the Oscars because this obviously means that animation is taking kind of a new turn towards originality again. Because movies used to be more original, but now they're... Wait, hold on, let me rephrase that. Because animated movies used to be more original and have more original stories because they were the firsts. Like the first Shrek or the first How to Train Your Dragons. These were the first movies. They didn't have their sequels. They didn't have their copies. They didn't have any of this yet. And I think it's good that we're driving towards a more original setting where large companies do not have complete control over what gets made. Because obviously audiences still absolutely love small teams who are making great stuff, genuinely good stuff. So I don't think that animation is exactly finished yet, and I don't think that corporations have completely wrapped their hands around all animation because of situations like this. So that makes me happy. That makes me happy that like that people are paying attention to stuff like this, and we're taking kind of a fresh direction, hopefully. And hopefully things change up, hopefully things start changing up soon and we stop getting these like sequels that we do not need and start getting more original stuff, creative stuff that isn't driven by large corporate decisions. This is my first video that I've made in this style where the main focus is just me talking about something that either disappoints me or something that I'm happy about. But yeah, I know that this video isn't going to be the best, and I am already feeling kind of guilty or kind of weird about my mic quality. I'm pretty sure it's going to come out really weird, but I think I'm just going to stick with this recording and keep it because I've been scrapping way too many recordings as of lately, trying to get a good video out. But I think I'm done. I think I'm just going to release this video, no matter how crappy it sounds, and we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, okay, bye.